Okie dokes, folks. Alright, alright, alright. Huge video update right here. Alright, okay? Because obviously, you guys see that I've got my Red Sox shirt on. And best yet, get a good look at that sucker right there, okay, folks? World Series champs back in 2018. The only badge or patch that I will ever need in my entire lifetime, okay? Y'all say we cheated. No, we did not cheat. Okay? That's a whole bunch of fake news, whole bunch of baloney, a whole bunch of garbage. Okay? I'll tell you. My complaint department is literally a garbage can. Okay? And you know what I take? You know what I do with that garbage can? Once it's full of everybody's complaints about New England sports or anything about Boston in general, guess what I do? I take it and I burn it right in that fire pit, okay? Obviously, you guys see some leaves and some extra wood from last week's fire, okay? That wood that you saw in the fire, along with those leaves, are joined by the garbage cans that I have filled up with so many complaints about how great the Boston sports are, okay? So it's just not even a question at this point. The Red Sox are indestructible. The Pats are just flawless. The Celtics, are in their own world right now. The Bees are on fire, even though they play on ice. So, that's why the ice melts so much. And that's why the Zamboni has to come out and clean it up every time they play. Okay? So, Chara is just slamming everybody up against the boards like he needs to be. All right? It's frightening to even just watch the guy play, okay? Every time I see him slam somebody up against the boards when he plays, okay, I'm watching the game on TV and I even get worried and I have to run. I have to run to the bathroom. I'm freaking petrified. Okay, that guy sure ain't coming up to slam me against the boards. That's for sure. Cause I'm already 80 miles away. Okay, cause I ran so freaking fast. But I'll stop my rant about how great Boston sports are. Okay, because obviously I've been talking about some of the negative sides of Boston, which honestly I think is kind of great because, with every situation, with every given city, it has a lot of positives and it has, some flaws, some negatives. Everything in life, from what I've learned, has its pros and its cons. And that's the same exact thing with cities across America, okay? It has a lot of pros, it has a lot of cons. Fun talking about both, okay? I love talking about good stuff, and I like talking about, some of the more negative stuff as well. Okay, so for me, it's essentially a win-win situation. Okay, we're going great either way. So, obviously, with that being said, I've been starting to talk about the Boston T, okay, the Boston, what's known to you commoners as the Boston subway system, okay? But like I said, it's the Subway is Subway the restaurant here in Massachusetts, okay? The Subway is the Subway. The T is the T, also known as the MBTA, the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority. Okay, they think they know what they're doing, but let's be honest, they really don't at this point, okay? At this point, the MBTA is kind of a joke. They just kind of gave up on themselves, essentially, at this point, because, they're getting no money. They know they don't have any money, okay? And they're clearly not using the money that they have to upgrade the T system, okay? So, essentially the whole system's a joke. It's a fraud, it's a scam, okay? And which is unfortunate because so many people rely on the T as essentially their main source of transportation, like I do. I rely on it all the time. And it's terrible. It is absolutely miserable. Absolutely dreadful. I can't speak enough about that, okay? So, last video I had about this, I made the main overview video about the T system as a whole, okay, the train system as a whole within the city of Boston. Okay, so now I'm going to dive deeper in to every single one of the T lines that they have in Boston. So I'm going to make my job easier for myself and start off, this whole series easily, the way I know how, okay? It's basically I'm lobbing myself a nice easy pitch so I can crank it out of the park. Okay, so the tee line that I take the most is called the green line, and it starts its original station. Okay, its origin station, the station that essentially runs the whole green line. Okay, is called Riverside. Okay, Riverside Station. That's the main station on the whole entire line. Okay, that's where they store most of the trains at the end of the day when the shifts are over and done. Okay, and and the green line starts in this Riverside Station is in a very very like beautiful town called Newton. I'm pretty sure it's Newton, Massachusetts. Okay, beautiful town, very wealthy town. Okay, and obviously it shows, with all these, large, very, very large homes, very beautiful homes. Okay, and you can definitely tell that Newton, Massachusetts is definitely utilizing the tax money because, their school systems are incredible. The Department of Public Works does a great job of keeping up with the town, being able to provide services to the town for the residents. Okay, just everything about it. It's a great area. If I ever become wealthy enough to live in that area, I would definitely consider it, right? Because it's just it's top notch all the way across the board. And obviously great education as well. So if I don't want to send my kids to the private school that I went to, that would be my next decision. Is sending them to a school system somewhere out towards Boston, where we know Massachusetts has a great education system already, and with a handful of a couple of schools out towards central and western Massachusetts, the rest of the schools that are really really good are out towards the Boston area, right? So it was a great idea to be able to have this origin station, Riverside Station in Newton, Mass, to help boost the economy, even more, right? Have more people explore that area, see how awesome it is. Just like myself, okay, I saw how awesome it is. I was like, oh, sweet, this is great. Okay, absolutely incredible. And it definitely allows the ability for folks to be able to, hop on the train without having to actually drive into the city of Boston, which is like the reason why I do it, right? I refuse to drive into the city of Boston, and it just so happens that the Green Line, for me, with the places that I need to go to, was literally the best option. Okay, the Green Line brings me, the Green Line prevents me to drive. English. The Green Line prevents me from driving into the city of Boston, so that's the major accomplishment that on my part checked off the list. Okay, so I was like, okay, cool. The Green Line has my business already, and plus it's a much lesser drive for me from my house to the Green Line Riverside Station. So I was like, check number 2. Okay, and the Green Line brings me to Fenway Park, brings me to some of the major hot spots in Boston. Okay, like Faneuil Hall, South End, places that I really, really need to go to. And then lastly, it brings me to the TD Garden where the Bruins and the Celtics play. So I was like, sweet, there's like 3 major things checked off, three different places checked off right away by just taking one train. Okay? So I was like, this is a match made in heaven. This literally cannot be any easier for me. But the problem, okay, is just the problem with the Green Line. It doesn't have many issues like the other lines do. Okay, I've never heard of the Green Line derailing off the tracks before, at least whenever I've watched the news. Okay, so I mean that's obviously a plus side, right? I can't complain about that whatsoever, because obviously I never want a train to derail off the tracks in any situation. But I'm just super thankful that it's never happened to me, because that's the major issue with the MBTA. Is like, especially with the Green Line, the trains are extremely outdated. Okay, the tracks are irrelevant. The stations look like crap. Okay, it's like I'm walking through a garbage city, and I'm just absolutely disgusted every time I walk through the stations. Okay, it looks like I'm literally either walking into a war zone or I'm walking through, the era of the dinosaurs, okay? And I still have no idea which option I want to choose from either those two options, okay? The fact that the Boston is the greatest city in America, okay, and it's a thriving city, is still growing like crazy. And, they keep putting up these massive buildings full of condos, apartments, penthouses. They just keep putting up more housing. And it's so evident that they have no idea how to freaking handle it. It's insanity. Okay? If you can't even get your own public transportation system to be top notch, then how in the dag-nab world can you get everything else squared away? I mean, come on. And please, if you have an answer for me, please, by all means, let me know. I would love to know. Because the fact that the Green Line goes to some of the most important parts throughout the city of Boston, and, I feel like my life is in hands every time I ride on it, it's miserable, okay? They're constantly doing work on it, and when they're doing work, it clearly doesn't go well. Because it seems like there's more issues that are going on with it than there were before, okay? And the fact that whenever there is construction going on, you're telling me it takes like several months to get it done, which affects the commute of really like thousands upon thousands of people a day. Because the problem with it, whenever they're doing major construction on it, they have you get off at that particular station, take the bus. Now, buses are terrible as well. Those things are obviously gas guzzlers, which are spending a ton of tax money. Obviously, the worst idea in the history of ideas. And then, it takes forever, too, because you've got to deal with traffic, right? Traffic, especially in a major city, is obviously inevitable. You just can't, there's just no way of getting around it. Okay, and then they make you get back. When you get back to the station where the construction ends, they have you get off the bus, and then you got to compete with the other people trying to get on the bus, so you're pushing everybody over. Okay, I'm surprised there haven't been at least a billion, fist fights at this point. Okay, at that point, you're already like 10 hours late for work, so you might as well just turn around at that point. All right. And then you get on you have to run down the stairs to the crappy looking T station, okay? You're wondering if you're really gonna get shot, and it's terrible. It's miserable, okay? And then you get on the T, and the problem with the trains and the tracks is the constant squeaking noise. It sounds like the tracks don't fit up perfectly, or the tracks don't match the wheels on the train. So nothing, it just doesn't fit right. Or there's something going on with like the electrical part of it to help make the train run. Something's not matching up, or everything's not matching up, or it's obviously not a great fit for anybody or anything. So what ticks me off is that they spend so much time, of course, like at least a little bit of money, just a little bit. I mean, you might as well make this crap out of Play-Doh at this point. But, they spend the time and the money to get this stuff fixed. And it doesn't work, okay? It's clearly just all one big Play-Doh playland, okay? And it just drives me crazy to see how, well, I mean, it's great because, there's clearly other countries around the world that have such a great train system, okay? And, the fact that the United States, Boston, Massachusetts in general, clearly does not know where their priorities are because they can't get public transportation. And plus the thing, too, I've seen it, okay? I've seen it on the Green Line, and I've seen it on, some of the other T lines as well, okay? School students, like, from, essentially middle school, high school, college students, okay? Boston is a huge college town. Boston, like literally lives on the colleges, okay? And you're telling me that if you can't provide, a safe, secure, reliable form of public transportation for your students, essentially, from middle school, high school, and college. Like I know, me being a college student, if I went to college in Boston, I'd want to explore that city like crazy, okay? And since I would not have a car on my college campus in Boston, guess what I'm gonna use? The T, the Green Line. And the fact that the T and the Green Line don't work is a major, major negative aspect for me. And that's one of the many, many reasons why I don't go to college in Boston, okay? It's dreadful, okay? The trains, so essentially what I'm trying to say in this video, the Green Line is irrelevant. The trains stink, the tracks don't fit. The tracks are basically not even there at this point. All right, they've got all these crazy wires dangling around outside. Okay, somebody's bound to get electrocuted, or some kind of electrical fire is bound to happen at some point. All right, the stations are terrible. The most disgusting places I've ever seen. Smell like urine half the time, and a lot of these structures are falling apart. Okay, there needs to be a huge, huge multi-billion or maybe multi-trillion dollar renovation to these T-line stations, whatever you want to call them. It's nuts, okay? So there's my first rant on the first line of the MBTA, the T system in Boston, okay? The Green Line, the infamous Green Line that brings you to Fenway Park, multiple other points in Boston, as well as the TD Garden where the Celtics and the Bruins and the Celtics play. All right, so I'll catch y'all soon. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you to the frontline workers, and go Red Sox.